Good morning. Hey, hello in the chat where you are joining us from. Who recognises you?
Hey!
Thailand, you've got Australia. How very exciting.
Texas?
Wow.
Yes, I do recognize you, Etienne.
Lovely to see all your smiling faces on this joyous occasion. Great to have a book launch on a Sunday. Definitely a big thing. Play this for 30 more seconds, get you in the mood, get you joining the woods, feeling like you're outside in nature.
Lovely smell of a campfire.
Love online launch because everyone can come from everywhere. Right, I've had enough of that now. How are you all? How are you all? I know we've had a bit of stormy weather happening, haven't we, over the last few days? It's been a little bit up and down in the UK. Thankfully, we have the sun here in Brighton, so that's good. But I hear that it has been a little bit up there in the north, up there. I was talking to someone in Scotland yesterday. She said it was a little bit hooly. But we're here today to obviously celebrate together. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing to do to be able to get everyone from across the world to come and celebrate this amazing occasion. The book launch of Emma Hookey's first ever book, More Than Marshmallows. Now, I like shaking. Now, if you do have the book, I will ask you to shake it later. But no pressure for now, no pressure for now, I promise. But yes, we're here today to celebrate. It's fantastic being an author. It's a very exciting thing, and it takes a lot of time and effort to get there. It really does. And I'm quite lucky because I've been working behind the scenes with Emma for about 9 months or so. I've been her book coach, her copy editor. And Matt has obviously been helping as well in lovely Thailand with the typesetting. So we've been a great team, the three of us together helping put this book together. So it's wonderful. But of course, we need to talk about Emma. So today it is the celebration. And who here loves being out in nature? Hands up who likes being out in nature. 100%. I put two hands up, I think, for that. Definitely. And hands up who likes cooking.
Yeah.
Now, I'd be a little bit more on the side for this one myself. But Emma's book is really embracing the thought and the feelings behind being out in nature and cooking outside, that whole love of campfire cooking. And obviously, I've got to know Emma quite well over the last 9 months and even over the last 5 years or so since we first met each other online. But it's a great way, isn't it, for us to embrace being outside. And it's quite a unique way of thinking how much more extra joy we can get from actually being outside and cooking, being with our friends, being with our family, being out in the elements that we're told so often do us so well. That morning sunshine, all of those things. It's great to have that combination. And I think Emma's book really sings that. It's really pushing us to see if we can do that little bit extra and go outside. I didn't even think about the fact that I could step outside in my garden. I know people like a barbecue, but step outside in my garden and do a campfire. It's like, why have I never even thought of that before? So it's great, isn't it, to be able to think of these things a little bit outside of the box. Emma is going to speak to you in a minute about obviously her experience of being an author. She is an amazing human being, and she is a dear friend of mine. And it's just lovely to see her passion, how inspiring she is. She helps children that need that extra support, being a forest school teacher, and it is quite remarkable what she does on a daily basis. It is pretty special. So I'm going to hand over to Emma and I'm going to ask her to tell you a little bit more about her passion and obviously what went behind her even thinking about starting to write a book.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, so I'll try not to go on too long, but as many of you know, I do like to talk, but I'll try and be concise. So yeah, I thought I'd share with you, as Sarah said, a bit of my journey with campfire cooking and how the book came to be. The idea first came about in Christmas 2019 when I bought my brother a fire pit for Christmas. And I was looking for a book to go with it as part of the present that had got a range of snacks and meals that weren't massively complicated. They were easy to prepare, but also tasty. But also one that contains information about safety equipment and what cooking equipment you actually needed, rather than what the internet tells you that you need. But I couldn't really find one. I purchased over 10 books, probably nearly 15, looked through all of them, and lots of them had useful information in and interesting recipes, but most of them seemed to require that you took the kitchen sink with you, and half of the supermarket with you as well. So during, that's sort of how the idea came to be. And then yeah, the seed was planted, as it were. And then later that year, well, 2020, when the lockdown happened, and my dad was diagnosed with a brain tumor, I made him a promise that I was going to write and publish my book. Now, we had lots and lots of conversations about cooking and recipes. And when I decided to come over and spend more time with him and help my mum look after him, the conversation would happen regularly, and we'd talk about what I'd written and where I was up to. And, even when he was really, really ill, food was always a topic that would get him engaged. So it was a good thing to talk about. So when I first started campfire cooking, I was really nervous about moving away anything from marshmallows. And then I began with safe things like baked apples and jacket potatoes, thinking, well, you can't really go wrong with a jacket potato. How wrong I was. And then I started venturing into other dishes such as chilies or risottos. Nowadays, however, I'm happy to tinker and play around with lots of ideas, and regularly make notes when I'm out for a meal, going, oh, well, I wonder what would happen if I did that, and how can I do that on a campfire, much to everyone's sort of annoyance. Can you not just eat the food and stop analysing it? Can we just get on and have the meal? But not every single one is a success, but that's all part of the joy. And even burnt offerings still taste better than burnt off when they're cooked over a campfire, taste better than being cooked inside. Now, one of my favorite things to make is jam, inside or outside, but I do love making it on the campfire, as everyone who lives around me here will attest to. And a few weeks ago, one of my neighbours came over to me rather, with a 2 kilo bag of plums and said, well, we've just been given up about 20 kilos of plums, so I bought you a couple of bags because I know you like making jam and stuff. So I thought that you might like to make some plum jam. Well, lo and behold, next week at Forest School, when I was doing it with the kids at Matlock, then there we go. We made some plum jam and some plum crumble as well, because there was more than enough. And I also realised that you can put an apple in to set jam rather than lemons, because I didn't have a lemon on me. I forgot that bit. So yeah, what's one of my favourite things to make. And when I ran my forest school and playgroup when I was living in Switzerland, cooking on the campfire was an essential part of the sessions, teaching kids where food comes from, how to make it, and starting from scratch. Because a lot of them had never seen that before. Obviously some of them were very little, but even the older ones. And whatever group I'm working with now, be it the 2-year-olds or the 12-year-olds, I always do a campfire cooking session, and they're always involved in making it, be it pancakes to risottos to bread to whatever we're doing. And the nurture group that I have every week have now started to come with their own ideas. Yeah, thanks to Harrison's flatbreads, that I now and I can do without the recipe. One of them was talking to me last week, and oh, can we make those flatbreads again that you made? So yes, those will be on the recipe this week. So yeah, it's really good that they're now coming with their own ideas and what they want to do, which is just great and what I'm all about, really. And it really warms my soul knowing that they're so invested in the campfire cooking that they're coming with their own ideas. And I had to pop into school on Friday, even though I wasn't working. And I got handed a piece of paper from one of the boys going, oh, I found a recipe. Can we have a go at making this? He says, I know, you need some time to get the ingredients. So that was fantastic, that he'd done that of his own accord. And I've heard from several people who've bought my book to say how useful it is and how useful they found it, and that the layout of the recipes is makes it straightforward and easy to follow. And that's what I wanted and want everyone else to feel who buys it. Now, I'd like to hand over to the wonderful Mr. Harrison Ward, probably better known as Fell Foodie. Now, him and his book have been a great inspiration to me, as his own journey has into outdoor cooking. And I was really fortunate to meet him earlier on this year at the NEC, and did a couple of sessions with him. So, yes, without further ado, I'd like to hand over to Harrison.
I'll just come off mute. Thank you, Emma. Thank you for having me at the celebrations day as well. I think, first of all, a massive congratulations, I think, for getting the book out to this point and published in the world. It's an amazing, amazing thing to experience. I'm really, really glad the moment I had a couple of years back. So I can only imagine what you're feeling now, sort of having this sort of moment as well. But I think one thing that you'll attest to that I knew I can attest to as well is obviously these outdoor cooking books. The whole sort of cookbooks you see on the shelves out there, that the glorious photos out there that are generally all cooked in a nice warm studio out there. So over 2 weeks, it's all just bosh, bish, bash, bosh, all done, plenty of recipes a day. When it comes to sort of heading into the outdoors and lighting that fire each time, gathering those ingredients, battling the weather concerns, this can, of course, be quite an elongated sort of a spell of pleasure sort of getting this together. So again, well done for that perseverance. Of course, this has been a passion of yours for quite a long time. And that's always been clear to see, I think, the times that I have been in your company, Emma, and sort of speaking and reading through the book as well. I think the passion about this topic. It's great to see you sharing this with the young people as well. I think there's fantastic accessible recipes in there, really great knowledge around sort of the equipment and sort of do's and don'ts, as well as those environmental aspects that are always so important, I think, when heading to these areas. Because again, you wouldn't want to ruin that location for the next person going forward. Even if it's just your garden, perhaps. It might be a loved one of your kids heading down the garden. Don't want to see the remnants of the last three campfires out there. But there's lots of nostalgia in here as well. I mean, I know not everyone's been able to grow up sort of with the countryside on their doorstep, but for me, I had some times sort of in the woodland with a friend of mine who was lucky to have some woodland on his patch at the time. And the damper bread recipes and sort of the chocolate cake and the oranges in there as well. I mean, there were such nostalgic sort of campfire, scout-based camping recipes that really brought a lot home. So I think there's a lot of those that we can relate to in that book there that many people will find fantastic. But no, it was a real pleasure for me as well to be asked, Emma. It was a real sort of joy. I've not wrote a foreword before, so again, that was a really nice thing to be asked to do, and to see the book now come out into its glory, looking fantastic. Again, credit to the people who've worked on it behind the scenes as well, in terms of the layout, the photography in there as well, and of course the key information. So I really hope this goes really well for yourself as well, that those that are in the chat already are going to enjoy this book and really enjoy cooking outdoors in nature, because it's such an ancestral sort of homage really there, cooking under the stars, sharing food with friends, conversation over that campfire. There really is nothing more human than that experience. And I think if this is a gateway into there, some of those early recipes, really accessible again for the younger or the older generations, moving on to some of those more complicated dishes. So again, well done again, Emma. Great stuff, and really fantastic to see the book out there.
Amazing, Harrison. Thank you so much. That was lovely. And I love that nostalgia. It kind of hits you a little bit, doesn't it, when you start talking about things, when you remember recipes or just going out being with your family and friends. I remember walking in the woods with my grandparents, and it was just such a pleasure, such a joy. And I have visions. I don't know if this is true, Harrison and Emma, if you can tell me, of the singing. Is there lots of singing over campfire cooking? Fee would like this for sure.
Not so much on mine, I think, but I think by the sound of the start of this Zoom chat, I reckon there's plenty of singing going on at Emma's.
Yeah, yes. Sometimes there is, yes, yeah. But normally different versions of the teddy bears picnic. Not generally a hit with 12-year-olds.
No, although my son was dancing around with it this morning. But yes, it is lovely, isn't it? It's lovely to get people together. It's having that real sense of everyone just enjoying some real kind of quite simple food and just being out. And I love that thought of being out in the stars at night time is quite lovely, isn't it, to be fair? Um, as I said to Emma, it was interesting actually because I said to her that I'm not a particularly great cook, but actually this is making me think about stepping out of my comfort zone and actually encouraging me. And when I was going through the book myself, reading and seeing all the pictures and reading the recipes, and my favourites were the baked porridge. I mean, who knew that you could bake porridge over a campfire? So porridge is something I love that I have every day. So that's definitely a good one for me. And cakes in orange, as you said, Harrison, with a chocolate cake. Who knew that you could bake a cake in an orange? But it's all these things that bring it to life and actually make it feel that it's simple. I think that was also a really important point that you said, Emma, that it's very much you don't need to bring the kitchen sink, you don't need to bring all of these equipment with you. And then that kind of makes me feel a little bit better. Yeah, saves on the washing up. Yeah, absolutely. That's 100% true, Harrison, for sure, for sure. Anyway, it's lovely to see you all here, and we do have a few people that weren't able to make it. Obviously, it's on a Sunday. I'm sure Forest School is a very busy thing on a Sunday, so these lovely ladies weren't able to make it because they're too busy doing their day job and helping lots of people. So we do have a few recorded messages that we'd like to play. And again, it's much more that they're talking about their experiences and their love of campfire cooking. So the first one is from Esther Brock, who is the director of Inside Out Forest School. And then the second lady is Helen Wood, who is the founder of Little Puddle People. That's a mouthful. I need to try and do that. But I'm going to just share this with you. So give me 1 second and hopefully it will come out. Let me have a go. I'm hoping you can see my desktop.
Hi, everybody. I'm Esther here from Inside Out Forest School. Thank you, Emma, for inviting me to talk today on the big launch of your new book, your first book, which is More Than Marshmallows. And I've just been invited to chat about what we do here at Inside Out Forest School and our cooking and ethos around cooking on the fire. So Emma has been working with us for about the past 3 years. She's not at the moment, but we had a WhatsApp group as part of our team, and every week we would share ideas, not just crafts that we make, but also things that we cooked on the fires. And Emma was always up there with putting us to shame these amazing things that she'd come up with and cooked on the fire each week for her children and adults and the groups that she was working with in the schools. So I'm really intrigued and excited to see what is in the book, and hopefully it will help you guys to improve your own your outdoor cooking and give you some inspiration. I'm sure it will do me. So things that we cook at Forest School, well, depending on the groups, we work with anything from adults and toddler groups, community groups, to teenagers in high schools, challenging groups, to schools and classes of 30. So depending on who you've got, what time you've got, and the produce you've got, depends on what you can sort of come up with. We like to cook everything from fresh, really, at Forest School, and it's really important, especially for some of the groups that I work with in the schools, where these children have never had access, or not access, but they've never seen perhaps meals being cooked in front of them before, fresh meals that have not been highly processed food. So it's really important. It's really exciting for them to see that food, how it comes together in front of them, how a meal is cooked. They love that. They love the new smells, the new tastes, textures of the food. We cook really simple food. We start really simple things like, toffee apples, French toast, just toast, tea and toast on the fire, porridge. And then with my other groups of teenagers, I've gone from going from baked potatoes to chips, fish and chip shop chips. They were amazing, deep fried, to stir fries, curries, pancakes, anything that's sort of quick and easy, but sometimes it takes a while. We've done cakes in the Dutch oven. And then to very easy, simple things like marshmallows and s'mores and popcorn. So Forest School is the food is integral because as a group, we sit around as a community and we chat and we talk. And some of these children that we've worked with have perhaps never sat around a table before and ate. They've never sat around as a group. So that is why it's a big thing at Forest School. The really important factor is that we sit around as a community, and it's the highlight sometimes of our sessions. I hope that helps. Thanks. Take care. Bye.
Hi, I'm Helen from Little Puddle People. I love using campfires in my sessions with children and families. I feel like there are truly endless learning opportunities. It ignites that real awe and wonder from the first flame and learning about fire lighting to different fire lays, magical stories that you can tell about dragons and things starting fires, to the history and cave people and all those kinds of things. We love to forage and cook too. It really links that where does our food come from, really hands-on and in action, and it gets children trying things that they would never, ever normally try. One of my favourite things to cook with children is nettle crisps, because it's just so amazing seeing their faces when they try a crisp made from a nettle and they don't get stung. They think it is so cool. It's like a magic trick. Obviously, at the moment, we've had a real abundant season with blackberries, so we've been doing lots of experimental recipes with those. And again, finding children that would never normally eat fruit will eat it because they can pick it straight from the bush, they can see it change, they can turn it into different recipes. We often do lots of exploring with our recipes as well, so not always following a set recipe, although that can be helpful. I like showing the children the books so they can see recipes, so they can see images, so they can see finished products, so they can see quantities and amounts and explore those, and using different techniques and ways of cooking, because obviously you can toast things straight over the fire. In our session today, we've got apple jam and some baguettes to toast on a stick over the fire, and then they can add some jam to it. But also you can cook a whole apple in there wrapped in foil, or a jacket potato. You can cook things in a Dutch oven. You can cook things in a frying pan like pancakes. The possibilities are endless, and it's really setting them up to enjoy cooking, to enjoy healthy diets, to know where their foods come from, and to really have that deeper connection with nature and their environment and the seasons, knowing what's abundant, what they can find, what's in the seasons, right, what's available to us right now and what can we use right now. It's so special. So yeah, I'm Helen and I love campfire cooking. Thank you for watching.
There you go. How lovely. And it's great to get their different perspective, I think, as well. And also for their encouragement to try and get us to step away from processed food a little bit and have lots of encouragement for children to learn to cook. And that thing again with blackberries, if we all would have had those things where we would have picked some blackberries when we were a little bit younger, tasted them, it kind of brings it all back, doesn't it? Again, that feeling of nostalgia. And you can just see their passion for getting out there in the countryside. It is pretty brilliant, pretty special. So yes, we are coming to the end. We were only going to hold you here for about 30-40 minutes. We didn't want to take up too much of your Sunday. But I wanted to hand back to Emma just quickly if she had anything final that she would like to say. And then, of course, we need to celebrate. We need to celebrate. We need to clap and all of that. So I'll hand over to Emma first, if she's got anything final she'd like to say to you all.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks so much for hosting this morning as well. So yes, as Sarah said, it's taken like it says to raise a child, takes a village to raise a child, not just an individual. It certainly takes a whole community to make a book, as I have well discovered. So yeah, there's lots of people that I need to thank, in amongst it all. And if you get my book, the acknowledgement section is quite long. But yes, a big thank you to Sarah and to Matt for helping get the book over the line with lots of encouragement and gentle nudges along the way. Otherwise, it wouldn't have got there. Yeah, thanks to my brother, I guess, also for sort of not having an idea on where to start. But yeah, I think that sort of it all boils down to just get out there and have a go. There's people on here, good friends of mine, who aren't the most comfortable of people outside. Yeah, they know who they are. But yeah, it's just a case of just getting out there and having a go. And as Helen on the video said, nettle crisps is one of the funniest things to do with kids, because they're going, I can't eat a nettle. Well, it's going to sting me. And then you fry it with some salt and pepper. And lo and behold, it's just magical. So yeah, and thank you all very much for coming. And thank you for those that bought my book so far. It's great to have sold over 70 copies. Excuse me. Yeah, and thanks to Harrison for doing the foreword for it and for being there today. I know he's got his own very busy schedule. So thanks to him for taking time out of that to join me this morning. So yeah, my encouragement would be to just get out there, have a go, and see what you can do. And don't be too put off if it ends up being burnt to begin with. Goodness knows mine were. My poor children and husband had to certainly put up with a lot of burnt offerings and going, look what I made, very much like a toddler. Once I great, I've made this on the campfire, but it scorched to bits. But they give them their credit, they ate it and weren't too dismissive of it. But now hopefully they're a bit more used to my better versions of recipes. So have a brilliant Sunday, and thanks very much for coming. I think Sarah's going to post the link should you have not bought the book already and wish to do so.
Thank you. I think actually Matt already posted the link. Thank you, Matt.
There you go.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much. But yes, we are here to celebrate. I don't know if you have any beverage with you or anything like that. I like to toast. I've got a cup of tea. Toasting with a cup of tea is always good to celebrate. And if you do have a copy of the book, it's always lovely to wave it in the air. It is a beautiful book, and I would encourage, if you haven't already got a copy, then please do buy one. It has changed my thinking about cooking outside. It really has brought out that real urge to do something a little bit different. And how Emma said this right at the end of her book, your spark has been ignited. Now keep those flames alive. Build your campfire, gather your ingredients, create wonderful meals, and the best bit, and make memories. That's the most important thing. So big congratulations, please. You can take yourself off mute. You can shout and holler as loud as you'd like to wish her all her best as her first ever book. I think she may even want to do another one. I don't.
Yeah, but don't worry, Sarah. I'll give you a bit of a breather first before I do that.
Yes, so please say thank you to her. Big congratulations. I see lots of people are speaking in the chat. Congratulations.
Well done, Emma.
Nettle crisps, here I come. Fantastic, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And as I say, please, please buy the book if you haven't got a copy already. It's always a lovely thing for a first-time author to see that the love is being shared and that her enthusiasm, her passion is being put out there for everyone. So yes, lots of waving books. Congratulations.
Well done. Well done. Thanks very much, everybody. It means an awful lot to me.
Thank you.
Well done, Em.
Well done,
Congratulations. Woohoo!
You're amazing.
Thank you.
She'll be smiling all day now, she will.
I will be indeed. Yes, and seeing as it's actually dry, I might go and light a campfire.
Fabulous, fabulous. Well, lovely to see you all. Thank you so, so much. Look at that, 11:31. Had that going.
It could be Swiss.
And I'll leave you with the lovely tune that you can bop away with. Here we go again. Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Have a lovely Sunday.
Enjoy your Sunday, everyone.
Bye, Bob. Bye,
everybody. Thanks so much for coming.